gonna be murders. I'm telling you. I'm faster than him. I'm more cardio than him, so it's gonna be murders.
I think Joyce wins. I do think Joyce wins. I think he will wear Chisora down and maybe stop him late.
After years of wait, the English powerhouses Derek Chisora and Joe Joyce will go head-to-head on 27th July in the O2 Arena with the sole goal of being at the top once again. Announced earlier this year in March, there is no doubt that this fight is very important for both the fighter's career, as the winner of this fight will find himself back into the big leagues, whereas the loser will most probably have to retire. Frank Warren, the main man at Queensberry, and Joe's promoter, thinks that this clash has been on everyone's mind for a very long time, and it is about time that we were able to organize it. He stated, "This is a proper old-school heavyweight fight that seems to have been a long time in the making. I remember it being talked about strongly even before we teamed up with Joe, and it has always struck me as a natural and obvious fight to make." Sharing the same opinion about the fates of the fighters, Frank also believes that this match is more like a redemption opportunity for both the fighters, as now they can finally prove their worth after all the upsets that they had. He added, "Two top London heavies fighting it out for a place back at the top table promises to deliver a cracking scrap. The winner is right back in business, with no real place to go for the loser." Meanwhile, looking at this fight, both fighters' teams have also expressed their emotions about what they think about this bout. Adam Morrell, Joe Joyce's manager, has stated how this is a golden chance for Joyce to finally prove a point after the disaster of last year, where he lost 2 back-to-back matches against Zhang. He also stated how this fight will be one of the biggest events in British boxing this year, as it is not every day that we see 2 British titans go at one another.
I think it's really going to build up next week. They're 2 very recognisable people, 2 big faces of British boxing, Joyce and Chisora. And I think probably this time next week there'll be a real big buzz around the fight. It's a bit of a crossroads fight for both of them. I think Joe's going to show the world his Parker form, show just, exactly how spiteful he can be. I've watched him in sparring recently. He's back to being very spiteful.
Giving his prediction about how the fight will end, Adam confidently believes that Joyce will not only stop Chisora in the later rounds, but he will beat him down, resulting in a knockout victory. Despite this opinion, Adam still showed his utter respect to Derek as a great fighter and someone who has excellent marketability skills, which will ultimately help in selling the fight to the audiences. He stated, "Derek is a brilliant servant to the game. As it's his final time at the O2, he can sell a fight like no one else. I've been there for Derek's press conferences where he's refused to say a word, but still, he's going to sell the fight this week. I got respect for him as a servant to British boxing. I just want a great fight." Saturday night. He further added, "I do think Joe Joyce stoppage later in 10 rounds, not 12, but Joe will grind him down. I don't think it's a great style for Derek. I think Joe will grind him down and we'll see a stoppage in the later rounds." Now it is no news that these 2 fighters have had quite the careers, from fighting some of the biggest names in the heavyweight division to winning some of the most notable heavyweight titles. But regardless of that, in recent years, both of them sort of disappeared from the main boxing scene, which can somewhat be contributed to their age and more skillful and youthful fighters taking their place. But we also can't ignore that both of them also faced some bad losses, which caused their careers to tank. Also, for many of those who are aware of the history that these boxers share, this is not the first time that a fight between these 2 has been discussed, as almost 6 years ago, when both the boxers were at their primes, talks about the Juggernaut and War facing each other inside the ring surfaced, which almost caused a live confrontation between Joyce's then promoter David Hay and Chisora as they threw insults at one another. But in the end, no fight was orchestrated, resulting in many boxing fans to be disappointed by the outcome.
Live television, I'll make a deal with you right now. If he beats me, you write me a check of £1. Yeah? If I beat him, you give me your purse against Tony and your TV rights.
Now, almost half a decade later, the much-anticipated match between these 2 is going to happen, so the boxing community has a lot to say, especially the fighters themselves. During the press conference, Derek cleared things up about their past fight, stating that at that time he did not fight Joe because he did not see any good value in that fight, but now he is excited to finally settle the score. He stated, "I have not been ducking you out. It was not the right time, and at that time the money was not right for it. So now it's the right time. I don't duck, I don't run away from no man, and I'm excited about fighting you." With all the hostility boiling over the years, Derek issued a brutal warning to Joe, stating how he will end him inside the ring, as he is more powerful compared to him, with a much better skill set. And even if Joe manages to win by any foul play, he will still make sure that he gives him a good beating.
If Frank pays the charges on the ref, maybe you might win the fight, but other than that, boy, I'm gonna f*** you up.
Not done. Derek has recently changed the direction of his insults and has started to blast Joe's team as well, calling them incompetent and cowards who have further aided in Joe's career going downhill.
Can I tell you something about your team? They're old.
Huh?
They're old.
It's not for you to say.
I'm telling you.
That's your opinion. But your opinion's not really valid. Your head coach is a your physiotherapist is a
You're
everybody's
pussy.
everybody in your team is a
Huh?
everybody in your team is a
Oh. Well, that won't matter when I
I'm
punch
not
in your
pussy,
head.
you know I'm not.
While throwing subtle shade at his opponent, he stated, Joe is not the same fighter that he once was, as he appears to have gotten PTSD after the brutal losses he faced against Zhang. Derek also stated, it's going to be murders, I'm telling you, I know I'm faster than him, and I'm much stronger than him, so it's going to be murders, and I think Zhang gave that boy PTSD. However, despite all these warnings and taunts issued by Derek, Joe looks confident in his abilities to beat him after all the wait, emphasizing how he had years to train and work on his skills to make sure he is in the best shape possible to go against Derek, who is an extremely hard opponent to beat. He stated, here we are now, and he's here now, and I think I've got this because I possess the skills to beat him, and you know, now with more experience, etc., I think I'm, more than ready, so it's going to be an entertaining fight because it's a juggernaut against war. So what you're going to get is a crash in the middle, and there's going to be sparks and flames. Moving on to what others think about this fight, even Joe's past opponent, Zhilei Zhang, can't help but admit that this upcoming fight is good for boxing and will provide the opportunity for both fighters to finally step back into the game. Talking about his Joe, Zhang seems to think that Joe is finally going back to his past mindset where he used to be ferocious, especially after his recent knockout win against Cash Ali. Zhang said, I believe that Joe Joyce is slowly coming back to himself, putting his pieces together. But Chisora is no walkover. He's a tough guy, so I hope Joe Joyce can put everything together. On the other hand, Andy Clark, a notable boxing analyst and reporter, thinks that this fight may not be a very good decision made by the fighters and their teams, especially for Chisora, as considering their age, they are way past their prime, and any serious injury during this bout can be life-altering for them. Voicing his concerns, he stated how even though it's Derek's own decision at the end of the day, it is still very dangerous for him to step inside the ring at this point. He stated, I mean, it kind of makes you wince a bit because you look at Chisora and you wonder if should he really still be fighting. Well, it's his decision ultimately. Would I prefer it if he'd hung them up? Yes, he should retire. He further added, but if this is what he wants to do, then this is what he wants to do. And if he passes his medicals, then he's at liberty to do it. So who is anybody really to tell him that he can't? But having said I do anyway, fear for him a bit against Joyce. Commenting on the state that Joe is after his loss against Zhang last year, Andy believes that even though many people think that Joe will have the upper hand in this fight and will be successful in ruthlessly defeating Derek after his somewhat okay win against Cash, it's still not enough for him to win easily, as he is still damaged mentally after his humiliating 2 losses that he faced against the Chinese brute. He stated, Joyce is not without his problems because you know he got Zhanged twice, didn't he, that year? And they were bad defeats and they were hard ones to rebound from, and the damage that they did could be permanent. He further added, I don't think it's an absolute given that Joyce will win that fight and just give Chisora a horrible beating, which is what people seem to think is going to happen, and I'd have said that would be what would happen as well if these two had collided before Zhang, but post-Zhang, you don't know. Just like Andy, Adi Oladipo shares the same concern about Chisora's health and his choice to go against Joe Joyce. Being the lead presenter at DAZN, Adi has covered countless events, including the ones that Chisora was a part of throughout his career, so his concern surrounding Chisora being a part of a boxing match at the age of 40 is valid, as this may cause serious damage to not only his physical state, but also to the legacy that he had worked so hard to build over the years.
Into this at all, honestly, at all. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all, one bit.
Being blunt, Ade stated how he is not happy at all about this event and thinks that it should not be happening, but he still thinks that this can be due to Derek being stubborn. He also stated how in the last few years, Chisora had many chances to finally take a break and how should have retired a long time ago, especially after his last match against Tyson Fury.
I actually even thought maybe he could have called it quits after the Fury fight. Fury gave him a big opportunity, a world title fight, packed out stadium. I thought that was a perfect way to say goodbye. There's been so many times when I thought, okay, that's it, like enough. And here we are again. And I don't know, man. Like, I almost want to blame the people behind and around Chisora, but I almost feel like he's so stubborn.
Fraser Clark, a former professional boxer and trainer, thinks that the fight may not be a perfect one considering the age that the fighters are, but despite that, he insisted that both of them are training hard, and both of them possess tremendous skills which can make either of them win. Talking about Chisora, Fraser emphasized not to underestimate the old boxer, as still is in very good shape and trains vigorously to maintain that. According to Clark, if he maintains this, he can be very dangerous, as the entire heavyweight boxing depends on strength and skills. He stated, don't sleep on him, don't sleep on Derek. Don't turn your eyes and ignore Derek and think that he's not in the building. Trust me, he's here and he's present, and he's in the gym every day, every morning. He's fit, he's strong. Yeah, he's been in some battles, but he's game as anything. He then stated, in this heavyweight division, if you're fit and you're strong and you can look after yourself, you ain't gonna do bad. Talking about Joyce, Fraser stated how people may say that he has lost his power and passion after the continuous defeats and unsatisfactory wins. Joyce is still a very strong fighter who may have slowed a little over time, but if he trains and works on his skills, he will be a very hard nut to crack for Chisora or any other heavyweight boxer. Clark stated, the last couple of performances, yeah, they have not been great for Joe Joyce, but at any given moment, he's a tough night's work for anyone. He does not stop. He might have slowed down a little bit, but if you can find that form where the output's massive again, he's hard work for any heavyweight on the planet, I'm telling you. Having sparred with both the boxers, Dave Allen thinks that Joyce will most probably win the fight, as he is more powerful as compared to Chisora, and this power coupled with his youth will play into Joe's favor. Also a notable British boxer, Allen shared his experience that he had with Joe during his early days when he sparred against him. Recalling this, he stated how throughout his career and training he has never sparred against someone as powerful as Joyce.
Around 2014 to 2016, he was ridiculously strong. Ridiculous. I've sparred and boxed all the best heavyweights in the world, and none of them was as strong as Joe Joyce, physically as strong, or as tough.
Giving his take on Joe being the possible winner, Dave stated, I do think Joyce wins. I think he will wear Chisora down and maybe stop him late, but Chisora's punch power is not to be underestimated at all. Despite this, I just think that Joe is physically stronger than Chisora, and for Chisora, that's bad news. Also thinking that Joe will be the one who wins this fight, Duke McKenzie, a former professional British boxer and three-weight world champion, recently sat down in an interview alongside Spencer Oliver to give his take on this fight, stating that Joe is the superior boxer going into this fight, as not only is he the more lethal hitter, he is also in a better condition as compared to Chisora. Duke even went as far as to say that it looks as if Chisora should have retired a long time ago, as now he is just waiting to see how badly he is going to be beaten by Joe. Duke stated, it's a must-win fight for both of them. My problem with Chisora is that several years ago, even Frank Warren stated publicly he wanted him to retire, and now everybody knows how heavy-handed Joe Joyce is, and these guys aren't exactly, they're not movers and shakers, they're just going to meet each other head. I don't know how much Chisora got left. He continued, I don't even think that his best he beats Joe Joyce. I think personally he's waiting there to get knocked out because he's not the fighter he once was, and Joe Joyce is marginally better. Despite these harsh comments, Duke is still concerned for the overall health and mental well-being of Chisora, as he wants him to retire after this fight on his own. He also discouraged the statement issued by Chisora about him having enough power to participate in 3 more fights by saying that he should let it go and retire to finally give himself some rest, as he has done enough in his boxing career.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. No. Talk's cheap. He hasn't got 3 fights left in him. He'll have 1 fight left in him, and I'm just hoping that, please God, after this particular fight, the authorities, the right people say to him, Derek, enough. Take his license away. That's enough.
Barry Jones, a former boxer and world champion, seems to be on Joe's side, emphasizing how he is the stronger boxer who can land some very damaging punches, which can cause serious damage to Chisora if he tries to get in the way. According to Barry, the only way that he can see Chisora even having a chance to win in this fight is for him to develop resistance against the powerful punches that Joyce is notorious for. He stated, Chisora might be able to get close but can't work effectively like he used to, but so it might be one of those where I only see Joyce winning the fight, but I think Chisora could go long unless he is shot. Dependent on what Chisora's resistance is like, if he can't take a punch, then he's in trouble, but Joyce is not the guy who's going to tag you clean. Saying the same thing as others have said about Chisora, Barry thinks that this will be a good fight from the fans' point of view, but everyone should be considerate of Chisora's age, because even though he is a good fighter who has given many good fights to his fans, every fighter has his end point before he is completely burned out. He stated, I want to watch a good fight. I'm going to be watching Saturday night, so I want it to be a really good fight and an exciting fight to watch. I just don't want to see Chisora box there ever again. With the fight coming closer and closer with every passing minute, both the boxers are hard at work in their training camps to train for this upcoming bout. Chisora, with his good record of 47 professional fights and 34 wins out of which 23 are by knockouts, is an all-time favorite when it comes to British boxing fans, as he has proven countless times how strong and ruthless he can be inside the ring. Also known for his excellent skills in generating public attention around the time of his matches, Chisora is a pro, with his most recent stunt being him knocking out some poor delivery guy.
Get off now! You don't grab me up, no reason for that. No, we get my match on.
On the other hand, while looking at Joyce, there is no doubt that he is in a better condition physically as compared to his older opponent. Though looking a little dejected at the direction his career has taken after his not-so-stellar performances since last year, with an overall record of 16 wins and 2 losses, Jagernat is on his way to salvaging his reputation by winning against a big name like Chisora. This being said, what do you guys think about this fight? Will it be the older, more experienced War who ends up having the final laugh after proving everyone wrong, or will it be Jagernat who claims victory, which will finally give him a chance to redeem himself? In the end, just like always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below.